So this is my second Making Connections presentation on the Harlem Renaissance. So the Harlem Renaissance was a period from about 1918 to 1937. Basically, the entire period was just an era of Black history, a big era in the realm of Black history, specifically in terms of art, literature, music, etc. It's often characterized by its close relationship to civil rights and reform organizations. So many Black-owned newspapers and magazines were linked to certain civil rights organizations like the NAACP, which published a newspaper called The Crisis, which there is a example of a cover right here from October 1914. And then the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, which was a Black labor union, published another newspaper called The Messenger. So the Harlem Renaissance, in terms of a genre, was kind of a mixture of like traditional African American culture, but also with European trends. And one of the biggest movements was modernist primitivism, which was a movement that praised quote unquote primitive culture, which is, human connection to nature and the elemental world, and criticized white or Western civilization ideals. It started with European artists taking inspiration from African masks, and kind of opened up an opportunity for both Black and white people to get to view African American culture through a newer and better lens. And the reason Harlem specifically is so important is because it's located in New York, which is the communications capital of North America, which offered the Black community visibility opportunities for publication not evident elsewhere. There were also other neighborhoods in New York that began to house residents that identified with the movement. It also inspired Black intellectuals in other major metropolitan areas such as Washington, Baltimore, Los Angeles. Some of them even came to Harlem. So it just kind of became this national center to study, protect, and celebrate Black culture in the United States. And then magical realism in Latin America. The height of it really was the 1950s through 70s, at least in the 20th century. And it's defined by being sort of a contradiction or refutation of Western European rationalist ideals. And it represents the conflict between Latin America and Western values. There's some debate about the term magical because people worry it makes the culture seem like it's not worth paying attention to or studying. However, it's certainly been claimed by the Latin American art community and literature community, because I've got a picture of a book right here by Isabel Allende. It translates to House of Spirits, and it's also been routinely incorporated into Anglo-American literary studies. So it's kind of a medium, I guess, between Latin American culture and European literature, kind of meshed together. It's the best way I can describe it. So for the Harlem Renaissance artwork, I chose this oil painting. It's titled Anna Washington Derry, which is the name of the woman in the painting. It was painted by artist Laura Wheeler Waring in 1927. It's currently located at the Smithsonian American Art Museum, but currently not on view, unfortunately. And it was made with oil on canvas, and it's pretty small, 20 by 16. So this painting's contemporary significance. So first of all, the brown and beige tones of Derry's dress, the woman in the picture, and her expressive face and body language. She's got her arms crossed. She's looking kind of somber. Conveys her dignity and inner resolve. And I found that quote really interesting because I feel like it's a trait that kind of applies to the entire Black community and their history in this country, in the U.S., because that's what they've had to protect and keep, through all the fights for ending slavery and the civil rights movement, and nowadays the fight for equal opportunity for everyone. Derry was also a working class woman. She was a laundress from Monroe County in eastern Pennsylvania, which was a small community that was originally made up of escaped slaves that came from the Underground Railroad. Um, and this is really significant for two reasons. First is that most of Waring's subjects were upper or middle class, so she mainly painted upper middle class people, which makes this work stand out in her portfolio. But it's also important because it shines a spotlight on working class women, specifically working class Black women. And there are my works cited. Thanks for watching.